I want to talk about Jimmy Butler, man. See, I've been seeing the Twitter comments, the discourse on television, and Heat fans ain't happy with Jimmy, man. They ain't happy with Jimmy. Understandably so. He's been getting himself suspended, fined, and when he does get on the court, he's not giving you all he got. But with all that being said, I agree with Jimmy, man. Now. Before y'all start getting on me and typing on the comments, let me just say this. There's not no right or wrong in this discussion. There's not no here or right, Jimmy's wrong, or Jimmy's right, Heat is wrong. It's none of that. It's just a matter of perspective. See, from Jimmy's perspective, he want to compete. This roster definitely isn't a championship contender. But more importantly, he wants that final big paycheck. And who could blame him? I feel like most people, understandably so, will want their final paycheck before they retire. That's all Jimmy wants. But from the Heat perspective, is Jimmy Butler at the age of 39 going to be worth $50 million? Short answer is probably not. And that's 100% right. He's probably not going to be the same player he was 2 years ago at the age of 39, which is what really earned him that $50 million. But Jimmy brought them to 2 conference finals and 2 finals appearances with his tenure with the Heat. There's a lot of all-time great players, Hall of Famers, who never got to the finals. And Jimmy got the Heat to 2 of them with a lackluster roster. Every run they had was with a lackluster roster, usually coming out of the play-in off the back of Jimmy Butler. A lot of players through those playoff bursts were playing a lot better than they were. Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, because we've seen how players such as Gabe Vincent is doing in their new homes. But besides that, Jimmy wants to get paid, and the Heat ain't want to pay him. See, I'm gonna share with y'all a teaching I got from my uncle, Mr. Shannon Sharp. He said, a problem somebody got the others don't want to see when they win it. Now let me reiterate. To put in summation, whatever issues or problems a team or player or organization has, when you're winning, it don't matter. See, a lot of Heat fans are saying Jimmy Butler's a diva. Understandably so. Every team he's been to, he's ruined the team chemistry. He forces his way out. Yes. But the Heat fans weren't saying this when Jimmy Butler was taking them to the conference finals. Damn, almost 3 finals. He was 1 shot away from the finals. Keep in mind. But, like Uncle Shannon Sharp said, when you're winning, all that stuff don't matter. Because winning heals everything. And that's what I think people need to understand. Winning heals everything. But now that the Heat are underperforming and currently in the play-in as the time of recording, and their star player Jimmy Butler, or who gets paid as such, isn't coming to play. So I see why Heat fans are mad, but I see where Jimmy's coming from. He feels unwanted, and he wants to actually contend, which is why the team he's heavily rumored to go to, the Suns, who, do not get me wrong, aren't a contender by any means. They're not a cream of the crop contender. But with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, I feel like he has much better odds there than with the Heat. Those odds may still be slim, but they're better, and he gets paid. See, I feel like Heat fans, they're a little, they got rubbed the wrong way with Jimmy not only requesting a trade, but refusing to play to the best of his performance. Which makes sense. He's not really trying the best he could. He's taking silly shots. He doesn't want to be with the team. And a lot of Heat fans feel like he's letting his teammates down. And I don't think they're wrong for that, because I think he is too. But the same way he's letting his teammates down, the organization is letting him down. See, if you don't want to agree with the fact that his previous accomplishments with the Heat matter, then sure. Jimmy Butler is a diva, and he doesn't deserve $50 million. But if you do want to look at his previous accomplishments, 2 conference finals, 2 finals, with his tenure with the Heat, with a lackluster roster, then you could be like, he kind of earned that money. But at the end of the day, it's a business. And from the organization's point of view, we don't care what you did for us, because we don't want to pigeonhole the future of our organization by giving you this much amount of money. Which is why the Jimmy trade hasn't happened yet. Because the front office thinks, well, not thinks, they want a superstar return for him. They want draft capital, young players, and players who could play now. They're not getting that. They're not getting that. Jimmy's not worth that. You want to know who went for that type of package? Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant went for that type of package. Jimmy's not KD. But the Heat know they're not going to get that. And this trade might not go through, but it most likely will. And at this point, the Heat should just move on, trade Jimmy, get the return you can from him, and just move on. Because at the end of the day, this roster's not going nowhere. Damn, in 4 years, this roster probably isn't going anywhere either. Now, don't get me wrong. The NBA is very prone to change. 6 months, the league could look totally different. All it takes is one player requests a trade, then another. Some free agency signings here. The teams could look totally different. But the way the Heat organization is ran, they're not going to start tanking. So the chances of them getting a top young player through the draft is most likely not to happen. The Heat historically, since having D-Wade, have been an organization that likes to compete. Meaning, they're going to have a mid-pick somewhere around outside the lottery, late teens, most likely, and try to compete every year. But the problem with that formula is they're not necessarily a free agent destination. Can you tell me how many players they landed in free agency recently? Not that many people want to play in South Beach. And it's South Beach. But that's because of how the organization is ran. It is ran very tightly. They're very, very tight with how they run their organization. But because of that, their likelihood of landing star players through free agency, slim to none. Slim to none. And they failed to acquire star level talent through trades. They wanted Dame, couldn't get him. They wanted Drew, couldn't get him. Bradley Beal, KD, Kyrie, couldn't get him. See, so strike out on so many players. The front office failed Jimmy Butler, man. They failed Jimmy Butler. Because he was doing his part. He was overachieving and dragging a lackluster roster to the finals. That alone should have said, hey, we got to get this guy some help. But because of the way the Heat are ran, they try to lowball trades. They try to give the least amount of assets as possible for a player. Which is why they couldn't get Dame, KD, Kyrie, all these cream of the crop players. Newsflash, they didn't get them because they didn't want to go all out for them. And he have never been the type of team to put all their chips on the table. They never deal all their cards. But because of that, they ain't land nobody. And I feel like the Heat are in for a rude awakening. They're in for a rude awakening. Because you're not getting the type of return the Heat want. You're not going to get it. And if they don't want to trade Jamie and he leaves in free agency, so be it. He'll do what he has to do. But at the end of the day, that'll leave South Beach with nothing. Nothing. And over the years, I feel that the Heat, in terms of their executives, run the organization a little poorly. They don't necessarily hold value to their players. Unless if your name is Udonis Haslem. They let D-Wade go. I don't know if some of y'all think D-Wade was a for lifer, but they let him walk before they got him back. And they let LeBron James go. And at the time, a lot of Heat fans agreed with the Heat's decision because we don't want to give him all the power. That's honorable. That's noble. And that era after LeBron was very much silenced when Jimmy Butler got there. Because they saw, hey, we got 2 conference finals and 2 finals after LeBron. We didn't need him. If Jimmy Butler never went to the Heat, they'd be in the same period of limbo they were pre-Jimmy and post-LeBron. They'd be in that same limbo. And newsflash, everybody, that limbo's coming again. It's coming again. Because once Jimmy skips town, goes to Phoenix, wherever, what do the Heat have? Talk to me about their roster. Bam, great player. One of the best defensive players in the NBA. Got off to a really rough start, but he's starting to pick it up. Tyler Herro started off blazing hot. Outstanding season. And we get a little murky with the rest of the roster. Jovic, good young player, has some promise. That's really about it. A lot of this roster is a bunch of older players. Alec Burks, Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith. These guys, some of these guys wouldn't be on other teams. But because they buy into the Heat culture, they have a job. But even like recent rookies that they've taken, Jaime, he was a 4-year player. He's already up there in age. He's more of a win now type of player. He's not going to get much better. There's not much development for Jaime. Which we've seen. His numbers are damn near the same as his rookie season. But their only gem throughout this chaos is Khalil Ware, man. Khalil Ware is a dog. He damn near might win Rookie of the Year. He's their only hope of this organization. And guess what? The organization wasn't playing him. Spo was not playing Khalil Ware. That could have been for a multitude of reasons. Things we don't know, things that happen while during their practices. We'll never know. But that's another. I just feel that the Heat make a lot of questionable decisions with their organization, and they run their organization how they want. Respectful, I can respect that. The Heat are gonna run how the Heat have always run, and that's fine. But I think we're starting to see how that gets them, because that way of running of organization, unless if you get lucky, like the Spurs, it's hard for that type of culture to hold up and translate to championship winning. Because don't get me wrong, they're a prestigious organization, but D Wade, old timer. LeBron, old timer. Jimmy Butler, old timer. And don't get me wrong, they drafted D Wade, and arguably the most stacked draft class of all time. So I mean, they really couldn't mess up on a draft class that had Bosh, Melo, Braun, Wade, which they ended up getting 3 out of those 4 anyways. But it wasn't because South Beach was the most prominent, legendary organization. Just because it's the only team Braun, Bosh, and Wade could really get to. That was really it. They damn near went to Chicago. But let's not pile on the Heat too much, because they've made also some great decisions in the past. We're not going to get to them, but we know what they are. Acquiring Jimmy Butler was a great acquisition. It's the least to say. And a lot of people weren't that high on Jimmy Butler after his spots with Philly, Timberwolves. But we're getting too off topic. I just wanted to talk about the Jimmy Butler controversy. And then we led into the Heat's future. And with that being said, I'll catch you on the next one. And let's see if that Jimmy Butler trade goes through.